Shabbat Shalom. Each time we do one of these videos, we start out by acknowledging how strange and challenging and difficult these times are. And from week to week, video to video, it doesn't get any easier. This month, June, is Pride Month. The virus continues. We see the inspiration of protests and voices actively calling for justice in the streets. But we know those protests come sparked by the ever-present violence of racism in our country. It's so much to process for all of us, but especially for our youth. So this week, I've asked 3 of our students who are either a part of our KKBE religious school journey or have come through it in recent years to share their reflections with us this Shabbat. I haven't given them any topic, I've just given them this platform and stage for them to be able to speak with their KKBE family, with you, and to share what's on their minds and in their hearts. You'll hear from Macy Sullivan Rothberg, from Adam Krasnoff, and Taylor Kahn Perry. Each of them have had roles in different capacities at KKBE, or currently do, in Charlie, our youth group, in our Hasikha and confirmation programs, in KJM, the Charleston Area Justice Ministry, or national student-led organizations and movements. But what you need to know most specifically about them this Shabbat is that they're part of our family, and they speak from their hearts to you. So for each of you, echoing their words and what's in my heart this Shabbat as well, I wish you Shabbat Shalom, a Shabbat of wholeness, of happiness, and of peace.
If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment or place and time again. If not now, tell me when. I see sorrow and trouble in this land. I see sorrow and trouble in this land. Although there will be struggle, we'll make the change we can. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment or place and time again. If not now, tell me when. I may never see the promised land. I may never see the promised land. And yet we'll make the journey and walk it hand in hand. If not now, tell me when. So we'll work until it's done. Every daughter, every son, every soul that ever longed for something better, something brighter. It will take a change of heart for this to mend. It will take a change of heart for this to mend. But miracles do happen, every shining now and then. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment or place and time again. If not now, tell me when.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu b'lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Now the wine, is it real wine?
It's
No, it's
fruit of the
apple
vine.
juice.
It's apple juice.
But we'll say the blessing over the wine.
Ready?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Amen. I'm going to take a little sip.
A little beep.
Okay, that's good. Now give some to Sissy. Take a little sip.
We're going to give some to Ryan.
Not yet.
Not yet.
That's enough. Thank you.
I just love apple juice. I could drink it all.
We give thanks to God for bread. Voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat Shalom.
The word pride can be defined as having a feeling of being good and worthy, or having a feeling of self-respect. It is also defined by many of being who you are and not caring about the opinions of others. Recently, we have seen many issues in our world, ranging from the COVID-19 pandemic to the protests surrounding the Black Lives Matter movement. Pride is often seen as a colorful light in the darkness for members of the LGBTQ+ community, and I believe that this holds especially true this year. Pride Month is a time to try new things, explore who you are, and find confidence in your identity. Throughout the past few months of quarantine, we've had a lot of time for introspection and self-innovation, and Pride can be used as a time to take that to the next level, to leave our comfort zones, figure out who we really are, find what terms suit us, and become more comfortable with what we have already discovered. There are so many ways to be prideful in our everyday lives and to learn how to have pride. Amazing ways to become proud of yourself include embracing your insecurities, recognizing your strengths, realizing that you are worthy, having impactful conversations, trying new things, making new friends, talking about your areas of confidence, and so much more. There are so many different, diverse aspects of pride that we become aware of in the month of June. Pride is a time of inspiration and loving who and what you are, as well as your community around you.
Shema v'ahavta, listening and loving. I wonder if justice doesn't exist precisely at the intersection of those two. As we read in our prayer books, Mishkan Tefillah, page 235, when justice burns within us like a flaming fire, when love evokes willing sacrifice from us, when to the last full measure of selfless devotion, we demonstrate our belief in the ultimate triumph of truth and righteousness, then your goodness enters our lives, and we can begin to change the world. And then you live in our hearts, and we, through righteousness, behold your presence. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בהם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, ויראם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Hi everyone. I wanted to take this opportunity to speak with you all about what has been happening in our country in the past 2 weeks, how we as Jews should be reacting, and what we can all do better as a congregation to respond to injustices like these. I would like to begin by acknowledging what a difficult and troubling year this has been for all of us. This year we have been afraid for our family, our friends, and our significant others, our jobs, our livelihood, and our personal health. We have been unable to engage in meaningful worship together in the sanctuary we love so much. All these pains are important, but the following is more important. At the time of recording this message, it has been 15 days since Derek Chauvin, a white police officer, murdered George Floyd by placing his knee on Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. This murder was not a mistake, nor an outlier. It was just the latest in an all too long series of public executions of Black Americans by the police on the streets of our country. On one hand, I would like to appeal to the sensibilities of our faith in saying that we should care about all these deaths. But in truth, we should care first as moral human beings, then as Jews. And we should not only care, we should be enraged. In the wake of Floyd's death, protesters have gathered in all 50 states and around the world to express their outrage at the systemic racism embedded in this country. Some of these protests were peaceful, and some were not. All were righteous. Many of these protests, and indeed some in our own city, were met with brutal violence from police, who used tear gas, considered a chemical weapon and banned in times of war, against peaceful protesters. Again, I emphasize, we should not only care about these issues, they should enrage us. It may be that in times like these, many of you turn to prayer to find solace and comfort, but I implore you all, if you are enraged at injustice, you have a moral and religious obligation to do more than pray. A foundational principle in Judaism is Gemilut Chasadim, acts of loving kindness. Now is the time to make those words our lived experience. I know well that many of you are fortunate enough to be in positions of privilege which allow you ample economic comfort, and to you I say, open your wallets and turn your prayers into tangible support. To those unable to provide financial support, read and listen to Black voices, march, educate yourself, then those around you. Be an advocate in your own life. I'll close by asking further that this year, which is so filled with pain and uncertainty, be not a year we forget for the hurt that it caused us, but that we remember for the way it changed us. As Jewish poet and novelist Anne Michaels wrote, how do we know there's a God? Because he keeps disappearing. Thank you.
Our service continues with Tefillah, beginning on page 164. Adonai, sifatai tiftachu fi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Velohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Velohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Velohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher Chastei Avot V'imahot, U'mevi Geulah Livnei V'neihem, Lima'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Vezrat Sarah.
Hi, my name is Taylor, and if you know me, you also know that it's rare for me to be at a loss for words. But as I process our recent events, the white supremacist murders of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, Tony McDade, Walter Scott, and so many others, I truly feel at a loss for words. And I'm also at a loss for words at the resilience of Black Americans and the leadership of young people we're seeing in uprisings for Black liberation across the country, a long overdue reckoning with our country's racist history. As I digest these events, one memory keeps coming back to me from early March, right before quarantine began. I was participating in a training for a student fellowship with the Poor People's Campaign, a contemporary revival of Dr. King's 1968 campaign of the same name. During our training, I was acutely aware of the fact that I was one of the most privileged people in the room. As the training came to a close and I told our fellowship advisor my goodbyes, she looked me in the eye and asked me, "Why are you here?" I looked back at her and said, "Because I cannot stand idly by." "All right, I'm going to hold you to that," she said, before hugging me and sending me on my way. I wondered if I knew enough to take on my promise, be an organizer, an ally, advance justice. Recent weeks have shown us what happens when people do and don't stand idly by. We've seen the murder of George Floyd happen not only because of the officer who kneeled on his neck, but also because of the officers who stood there watching as murder happened before their eyes and they did nothing. And we're also seeing the collective power that happens when a cascade of people say, "I will not stand idly by anymore." We cannot wait until we're sure we're going to practice anti-racism and allyship 100% correctly to start to show up. Because the truth is, there will always be more to learn, and anti-racism must be a lifelong practice. We have to lean into the discomfort and show up now. We will mess up. We'll make mistakes. We'll hope people know our best intentions and we'll own the impact of our wrongdoings at the same time. We will unlearn and relearn and unlearn and relearn. We will listen more than we speak. But most of all, not just in this flashpoint, but for the long haul, we will not stand idly by. I'm realizing that it's okay if I am at a loss for words to describe this moment, because really, truly, this moment is not about me. My voice is not the one that needs to be heard. So more than anything that I've shared tonight, what I hope you will do is start listening to Black voices as a lifelong practice. Read Angela Davis, James Baldwin, Toni Morrison, Malcolm X, Maya Angelou, Bryan Stevenson, Zora Neale Hurston, and the speeches from Dr. King that you weren't shown in school. Listen to Black leaders here in Charleston. Follow Tamika Gadsden and her work at the Charleston Activism Network. Stay updated with Darren Calhoun and Courtney Hicks at the Avery Research Center. Stand in solidarity with local education justice work led by Kendall Deese, Eric Jackson, and so many others. Listen to the words of local clergy, Reverend Rivers and Pastor Dixon. Ground yourself in the writing of Marcus Hammaker. One of the bright spots of my quarantine experience has been the way my family has consistently shared Shabbat dinner for perhaps the most regular stretch of time in my entire life. This has been an important way to laugh together, love each other, and keep track of time when nothing else makes sense. If you're like us and you've been keeping Shabbat, these dinners are the perfect time to not stand idly by. Start the hard conversation at the kitchen table. Use your Saturday of rest to read and take action. And most of all, make sure to rest so you can spend the next week and the next week and the next week and the week after and all the weeks after advancing justice, praying with your feet, repairing the world. Shabbat Shalom.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam brit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam brit olam. Beni uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai, asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam brit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat.
Our healing prayer this Shabbat comes directly from this week's Torah portion. Elna Rafana La. When Moses in the wilderness sees his sister Miriam stricken with leprosy, he cries out from his heart, one of the only prayers we have recorded in the Hebrew Bible. Elna Rafana La. Oh, please, God, please heal her. It can hear the emotion behind his words, also a rarity in biblical text. For all of our loved ones, for all those who are suffering right now, for our nation so in need of healing, for this planet, we cry out with our souls, Elna Rafana La. Oh, please, God, please heal all those we love.
Help us renew our faith.
Help us renew our faith.
Grant us a perfect healing.
Give us a perfect healing.
Bring peace to all our days.
Bring peace to all our days.
Elna Rafana La, Rafana Lanu. Elna strength of body.
Restore our strength of body.
Help clarify our mind.
Help clarify our mind.
Refresh our tired spirit.
Refresh refresh our tired spirit,
rejuvenate our light,
rejuvenate our light.
Elna,
Rafana, Rafana, Lanu.
Elna,
Rafana, Rafana, Lanu.
Elna,
Rafana, Rafana, Lanu.
Elna,
Rafana, Rafana, Lanu.
Shabbat Shalom. This Shabbat, we read Parshat Baha'alotecha, which comes from the book of Numbers, chapter 8, verse 1, and goes through Numbers, chapter 12, verse 16. And in this Parsha, there's a story about Aaron and Miriam, Moses' older siblings, talking about Moses. And they refer to his wife as that Cushite woman. Cushite is today considered possibly a reference to Ethiopian, African, dark-skinned Jews. For that reason, a lot of scholars and sages looked at this particular event of Aaron and Miriam talking about their brother, or in this case, their brother's wife, as kind of gossiping in an unkind way. For that reason, God strikes Miriam with leprosy, and leaving her brothers to pray to God that he will cure her of this horrible illness. But since that time, gossip and speaking ill of others in Jewish tradition has been considered like a plague in many ways. It's LGBTQ plus Pride Month, and sometimes I have mixed feelings about talking about gay pride, because just the virtue of being gay does not necessarily make me proud, but hopefully what I do with my life as a rabbi, a gay man, a leader in the community, a teacher, a friend, a father, hopefully those are the things that I can look back at someday and be proud of. Not just how I was created, but what I've chosen to do with the gifts I have. But I remember when I was coming out as a younger man in the 90s, I didn't come out to everybody at first. I only came out to family and a few close friends who are like my family. And I recall that one of my friends talked about it, not before I came out, but after I came out. She was talking to all our other classmates. I found out because they were talking to me, and I would say, well, where'd you hear? And consistently, they'd say the same friend was talking about it with them. And I felt at the time, even though I was publicly out, kind of betrayed, because I felt like a friend who had held on to what would have been gossip when I confided in her, and still found a way to sort of make it into something like gossip. And it damaged our friendship for a long, long time. I regret that because it hurt me, and I let it damage our friendship. But it was in a way like a plague when it separated me from a family member. And I don't want to do that anymore. we all gossip sometimes. We all talk about stuff. It may be stuff that's publicly known, but even in Jewish tradition, it's taught by our sages that it doesn't matter if it's a secret or not. To chat about it in a gossipy way behind someone's back is just as bad as what Miriam did when she was punished with leprosy for talking poorly of Moses' wife. And we're all guilty. Reminds me of the high holidays, right? We're all guilty. But this is actually one of those things where I think no one really escapes from it sometimes. We all, gossip is tempting to talk about other people. And we can all learn this Shabbat from Miriam and Aaron to do better, to say kind and nice and compassionate things about other people, and to learn when we should sometimes keep what we're thinking to ourselves, and also keep in confidence the things that we're entrusted with the people in our lives. Again, we're all guilty, myself included, and we can all do better, and we don't have to wait until Yom Kippur to be reminded of it. We learn these lessons about how to be better human beings and better Jews every time we open the Torah. I hope you've learned something, and I think I'm teaching myself something again that I need to learn again and again. And I wish you all Shabbat Shalom. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. Our KKBE list of remembrance begins with the names of members and friends of the KKBE family who died in more recent days. Nathan Halpert, James Lane, Mark Codner, Danny Berlinski, Rita Topp, and Sarah Rosen. We add to their names the names of those whose yahrzeit we commemorate on this Shabbat: Carol Annis, Philip Brown, Lottie Bushbaum, John Cornell, Selma Feinstein, Jack Halpern, Marcella Heilman, Sylvia Jacobs, Judith Jaffe, Rose Jaffe, Jetty Jonas, Ed King, Dora Lauper, Max Lieb, Norman Lanoff, Henry Levin, Leslie Marks, Betty McLean, Shelley Morton, Jean Price, Norman Rosen, Edna Hopfen, Robert Schwartz, Stanley Simon, Joshua Wasserman, and Norman Weintraub. Remembering them, we join together in Kaddish, in Mishkan Tefillah, page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, bi'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, b'agalau v'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'olmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudasha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya v'chayim, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Zichronam livracha. May their memories be our blessing, and together we say, Amen. Ose shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'himeru. Amen. Shabbat Shalom.